It's really a matter of time. If you have an assistant that can help you, great. If you have an agency, fantastic. If you're working with someone like me, great. But a lot of the people that I meet, unless you want to be an influencer, you did not start your business to be on social media all of the time. So there's definitely a fine balance with that. And I think that the best way to balance it is.
And welcome back, Ashley Smith. I am so happy to have her back. Where are you now? Where have you been? What have you been up to? But I'm just so honored that you're back here with us after over 2 years. We were just chatting, over 2 years of filming, and what has transpired in the last 2 years for you?
Yeah, thank you for having me back on. This is such a fun idea and such a great series. There's the quote that I've fallen in love with is the scariest place to be is the exact same spot as you were last year, which really resonates and has helped with the continued growth and continued momentum towards the new and the better and just evolution kind of as a human being and as a business owner. So it's been 2 years is wild to think about, honestly.
Yes, so much can happen in 2 years, right? But just I love that you said it's like not being in the same place you were a year ago, but even like 2 years ago. And I'm just really curious, what have you seen or learned from these last 2 years, the evolution of yourself, your business?
So I think that as far as business goes, still doing the social media thing, I've been able to take on more speaking and events kind of clients and kind of work, which is always just really fun and fulfilling outside of just doing the done for you and the executional type work. I've been able to branch out more, have my mastermind for solopreneurs and entrepreneurs that's in full swing. That is less focused on marketing, which is kind of fun, but really talking and helping support in the other areas or all of the areas of business that you go through. You know, there's running the business in the day-to-day, the reason why you got into doing what you're wanting to do because you love it, you enjoy it. And then there's all of the not so fun things, you know, sales and pitching and funnels and tech and legal and finance and taxes and all of that stuff. So we come together and we help with that. And I think that professionally, the power of a really great facilitated mastermind has just been one of the biggest catalysts for me over the last couple of years. I think I was thinking about this morning, even. I think one of the hardest things that a business owner or an entrepreneur can try and do is find a good network of people. That's the hardest part of networking is finding the right one. And, you know, I've been able to, through a good shove and a push through a good friend and mentor of mine, he opened this whole world of these truly amazing and great mastermind experiences. And it's led me to find my bookkeeper. I found my next coach through this. I found business partners. I found strategic deals with people. It's a different level and it's a different playing field. So I think that has been the biggest key over the last couple of years is taking advantage of those opportunities and joining in and saying yes. And also being brave enough to be vulnerable. That was one personal area of mine is that vulnerability and saying, here's where I'm struggling and this is where I'm stuck. But when you're able to be open and transparent about those things, it's fantastic because none of these people are judging you. They're there to help and to support. And so they're like, well, try this, or here's the shortcut, or here's the fast way to do it. So it's just been phenomenal. And I think that's been probably the largest thing in my mind over the last 2 years since we've spoken. That's just been incredible. It's been life-changing. Really, it has.
I love that. And I love that for you. And I think that's a big part of just surrounding yourself with the right people and the people that want to see you win as well. So being a part of masterminds, facilitating masterminds, all of those factors, you're able to get it in a condensed time frame of things that you need, or finding the bookkeeper, finding the sources and resources you need in order to help grow your business. But I want to take it back to, I love that you branched out where you're not just focusing on the social media, like the day-to-day, do it for yourself, all of those things, but you really started with the masterminds, and as well as speaking and getting into different pockets of business to branch out to help more people and just have that ripple effect. Because I feel like when we talk and whatnot, you're very insightful, you have so many resources, but being able to really allocate that to different areas of speaking and other factors. And with the mastermind, I know you just went to a mastermind in Hawaii and
Yeah.
all places. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you for that. No, the mastermind was fantastic. So it's called the Think Big Mastermind. Brad Hart, Hart. He actually facilitates one every year, I believe. And this was the first year that I was able to go. And I've just learned that anything that he facilitates, it's going to be a great time and it's going to be a growth time. So you're going to have fun, you're going to do business, you're going to find high quality people because you attract, right? The law of attraction, learning all kinds of stuff over the last few years. And so he just has this way, his whole thing about masterminds is he's the mastermind guy. He's fantastic. But one of the elements of what he does that really attracted me was all about chosen family. And so I'm not sure why exactly. I don't know if it's because of adoption. I don't know if it's because of healthy boundaries with people. I don't know. But it's just a very beautiful thing. And so with that mantra and with that idea, those are the kinds of people that he brings to the table. So we're there for a week in Hawaii, beautiful location, just absolutely gorgeous. And yes, there's masterminding. And yes, we get to business. And we're solving problems. And we're offering support. We're troubleshooting. But like, it's the kind of focused and intentful time that you get with these people, because one gentleman was about to walk away from $2 million that he didn't even know existed, because he was just tired of this business that he was doing. And he's like, a couple of buddies and I did this, blah, blah, blah. It's working well, but I'm not enjoying it. And when we crunch as a group, mastermind, group of minds coming together for one main mind, which is how I define a true mastermind, by the way. I know that word gets thrown around a lot, but together through the questions and through prodding and like really digging into the core of it, they're like, you're going to walk away from 2 million a year where you don't have to do anything. What are you doing? And he's like, holy, this revelation of it. We had someone else close a $1.2 million deal while they were there. So there's everything from that spectrum to another individual was like, hey, I've been doing this joyful moments practice for a while and I'm really enjoying it. And I was like, so why don't you take it here? And it could actually be a brand. It could actually be something that is something else for you or grow into that. And she's like, it was so obvious to me, but not to her because she was too close to it. And she's like, I never thought of that. Like this could, I'm like, yeah, there's merch and and of course I go into my huge full marketing branding mode or whatever. Like we can do all of these things. And from that mastermind, again, I met my bookkeeper because I found someone that was going to help me with the tax planning and the advantages, but also knew the day-to-day activities and transactions, those regular transactions and the moves that I needed to play. And it was just like, one of those moments, because I got somebody that was going to do what I'd been trying to find that you don't get through a sales call from these larger companies. And it's so frustrating to try and find those right people. But we're down to business and we're doing this, but we're also getting to know everyone as individuals, as human beings. And you figure out very quickly who you want to do business with, or you see something, but you don't really know what it is yet. There's a group chat that we're all still, talking in and chatting in and things like that. And it's just fantastic because they're real people that I wouldn't have met otherwise. I can promise you, I probably wouldn't have met a billionaire from Australia if I hadn't gone to this mastermind. But just even somebody, and collectively saying, okay, you got to buckle down in order to do what you want. Like, I think, especially in my world, the world of the internet, there's all of these gurus and all of these experts that are trying to give you the shortcut or the fast way or the you could do it this, and here's how you make $20,000 in an hour and all of this stuff. But to have true successful people just be like, yeah, I know you're all looking for that special key that's just going to unlock the door. But really what it is it's, unfortunately, it's consistent discipline and hard work. And I was just kind of left with, all right. But I did leave with some great information about wealth, actually creating wealth. And I'm not talking about like regular retirement or, a savings account, but creating actual wealth that could last generations for our family. So it's just a very magical thing. It's a very vague thing. Brad and I talked about how do you market this magic, because everyone thinks that you're a loon when you're trying to talk to them about it. Be like, no, come to Hawaii, we're gonna have a great time. And they're like, but what do we do? And it's so we're working on articulating that, but it's honestly my favorite way to do business, because it gets through all of the transactional kind of stuff out of the way, and it's more relationship building, which I'm a huge fan of. And that's where I found the most success. It's a slower method.
Yes.
And, and add 20,000 people on Facebook, but it's quality over quantity. So that's my very long rant and support for Brad Hart and his Think Big Mastermind. And yeah, just anything he facilitates has always been a phenomenal experience.
I love that. And I think that's a big part of just that connection piece, being able to build relationships. Yes, it takes longer, but you're right. There's not like a magic key to just open up. Okay, here's your business. This is how much you'll make. You'll be great. It'll be wonderful. But I think more people are moving into that space of, okay, I need to actually build relationships with people. I can't just sell off like the first DM. I have to actually build a relationship with people. And it's genuine. You genuinely want to know this person. And I think that a lot of times people get stuck in, okay, well, I've built this relationship, but now how do I ask? How do I ask for the sale? Or how do I like bring that up? But I think it's just what I've noticed, it becomes organic because you become that go-to person. Like now I'm the go-to person for solar here in Colorado, like with my circle, same with social media. And now with speakers, masterminds, other capacities that you have, it's people know you for that based off of just showing up consistently, the hard work, the determination, all of those words, they have meaning and they have actual results. It just doesn't happen in the first week you're doing it, the first month. It does take time. You don't make $20,000 in an hour starting out. Some people might. If they do, let me know, but right. Let me know in the comments. But I don't know if that's real. But I mean, unless you're a billionaire, I don't know, who knows. But I think that point of relationship building, really building those authentic relationships that you genuinely care about, and you never know. Like I always believe, okay, well, I know Ashley does social media and now with speakers, masterminds, okay, I can refer her to this person or it's vice versa. But I think it's like when you indirectly help people too, of just like knowing that circle, it just builds like a big web of like the people and like who you surround yourself with, just like you did for the mastermind, people that you would have never had the opportunity to meet. Maybe you might have met them later on in life, who knows, but being able to be in a room full of wise minds, including yourself, and just learning from each other and seeing things from a different perspective. Because just like the girl with the joyful message or meditation, and being able to build a brand from that, understanding that you can do anything you want, but sometimes you need to take a step back or a different perspective. You don't have to take that perspective, but you can look at that and be like, oh, I never thought of it that way, because you're so close to it and the attachment, because I believe your business is your baby and wanting to make sure it's cuddled and everything's good and let it grow healthily, but it takes time in that capacity. But I want to bring it back to 2 years ago when we had our first conversation on here, and we were talking about misconceptions of just niching down. And I feel like that's still like a hot topic. Some people are like, well, you need to niche down on this, or you need to be on every social media platform in order to be seen. What are your thoughts now from 2 years ago till now? Because I know back then you were like,
there's several different misconceptions that people hold, and they hold them because there's a bunch of other people in my industry who are sharing this information, right? There are people who have built businesses on how to find your niche. And the thing is that it's like, stop that. If you focus on your specialty, if you focus on the problem that you solve, if you focus on the results that you bring to people, it doesn't matter if they're a stay-at-home mommy blogger or a 7-figure multi-million-dollar business. They still want the result, which is solving the problem that they have.
For
Right.
people listening, do you feel like that perspective has changed? Do you feel like it's evolved? Where are you at on that?
Well, I can't remember verbatim. You clearly did your homework and re-listened to the episode. But I don't, and it might have changed, but I don't feel like it has. I think when you're doing it on your own and you're doing it yourself, social media is supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be social. It's supposed to be about relationships. There's some networking in business, obviously, that happens. And we're multifaceted people, and even myself, when I look at the different social media platforms that I check in on, I'm on Facebook daily, and then I'm on YouTube daily, and then I pop into Instagram every once in a while, and then still trying to get better at LinkedIn. Still trying to get better, but I'm on there at least, weekly now, which is a huge improvement from 2 years ago. But I use each social media platform for different things. And so I think that's where the overwhelm for content creation and repurposing and distribution comes in, is how, it used to be you could create one piece of content and splash it everywhere and it'll work. And to a point, it still does. But when you think about it, it's like, okay, that's not necessarily the same messaging that I would put on Facebook and Instagram that I would necessarily want on LinkedIn, because the audience is different. And so when I say, focus on one or two, let it be the fun one, because you're going to show up naturally and organically, instead of trying to get over tech intimidation and imposter syndrome and self-esteem and all of these other things. You're already there, right? And then the strategic part comes in when you built that habit of consistent content posting and sharing and creating and things like that. And so it's definitely one of those things where I still love helping people figure that out. I've got a couple ideas for some workshops and some retreats, and specifically a marketing mastermind might be coming in the future, all different kinds of ideas. I think that it's really a matter of time. If you have an assistant that can help you, great. If you have an agency, fantastic. If you're working with someone like me, great. But a lot of the people that I meet, unless you want to be an influencer, you did not start your business to be on social media all of the time. So there's definitely a fine balance with that. And I think that the best way to balance it is find those few platforms that you want. You can still be everywhere. Just understand that the performance might not necessarily be what you're looking for, until you can kind of really either narrow in your content and how you're presenting it and what you're talking about, so that it speaks to literally everyone, and be able to splash that through distribution and repurposing. Or you're able to take the time to do a little bit more finessing on, okay, I'm going to speak to Pinterest people. I'm going to speak to Instagram. I'm going to speak to LinkedIn. I'm going to do this on TikTok, that kind of thing. So that's the very long answer to, I'm not sure if that, if that's
well, I think it's pretty similar to what you said prior as well, like just staying one to niche and who you're talking to. And it's interesting because I just had this conversation with someone the other day, and it's like, there's people that are on social media all the time. Like, some people are like, well, I'm researching or looking for inspiration, but then it's not propelling their business. And do you feel like that's a huge part of focusing on what's fun, what's going to be the one or two platforms that you're focusing on, because other platforms will suffer based off of you're not really talking to that right audience based off of that platform. But do you feel like, unless you're an influencer, you're kind of wasting some time on social media if you're not really laser focused on why you're on the app, because people can continue to scroll and get lost in the mix of everything?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's designed to be immersive. It's designed to be addictive, I guess is a word to say. There's a couple of Netflix documentaries that still make me angry, but we won't talk about them. But yeah, that's what the platforms are made for. But I would argue that that same thing can happen at networking events and networking circles and on sales calls and anything. It's the intentionality that I think is really, really key in, okay, what are you doing here? I've been doing social media and content creation for 12 years now. So I can watch a YouTube video and absorb the content and the message and things that are happening. But if they do something like a transition or an effect, or there's a new feature that I see in the description, or comments have changed on YouTube. Like I kind of zero in on that. And I'm like, wait, how'd they do that? Wait, what does this mean for monetization? So that's more of where my mind goes, but you have to let yourself enjoy it too. But that's one of the things that I did. And that's where the discipline and the consistency comes in. When I started my business, is I actually bought a paper planner, and I would make myself do one thing every single day. Didn't matter if it was a holiday or a weekend. I would do one thing that would generate revenue for myself. But I qualified those things. So me going to a chamber mixer and passing out 5 business cards wasn't going to cut it. Yeah. What was going to cut it is booking at the chamber, booking sales calls, or following up with someone who was interested, but we lost contact. I dropped the ball. I didn't follow up like I was supposed to, or someone, reaching out to existing clients, reaching out to past clients that haven't done work with me in a while. Like I would actually have qualifying things. So I think the same can be said for social media of, okay, I'm going to go on TikTok today and figure out the trending sounds or the trending audio that I need to create my reels for this week or for next week. Or I'm going to go and see what updates have happened on YouTube, or what new mess has Meta created for everyone. What is happening? That kind of thing. So I think a lot of it is the intentionality, but also giving yourself grace. Understand that, yeah, you're going to probably doom scroll for a while. I try to look at it as like, okay, what did I learn from the doom scrolling? Like, what was I like? And that's probably over like taking some joy away from the experience for some people. And I think that's genuinely the difference, is why I do what I do and why other people hire me to do what I do, is because they're like, I don't want to think about that. I just want somebody to tell me when to show up and I can do my thing and we're good.
Yeah. And, it's that like organization of it too. So being able to know, okay, I'm going on TikTok to look for trending sounds like on this day, and just like really organizing your time and energy, because it's easy to doom scroll. Like, I mean, I do, and I'm guilty. I'm kind of like asking for myself.
Yeah, very easy to do.
So I think part of that is understanding, okay, well, what is the intentionality behind it? Is this propelling my business forward? Am I like, when I go to networking events, am I actually booking sales calls or following up for the next steps of things? Or maybe they know someone and can give me a referral, or vice versa, whatever it may be. But I think it's just having like, what are your intentions behind things? Because then that will allow other things to happen more freely and flow as well. And, I know you mentioned that you're looking to do retreats and a marketing mastermind potentially. What are your goals and future aspirations for the next year or so?
Oh, there's so much. Oh my gosh. So, because again, from the Hawaii Mastermind, I am in conversation with my husband actually, and another participant there for a new business. So we'll see what that turns into. Essentially, it's a concierge service for mastermind facilitators, either destination or whatever that looks like, but taking care of all of the little details for themselves and for their guests. So all they have to do is show up for their people and provide the programming or the content. They're not worrying about, oh, we need to get waters, or we need snacks, or how are people going to get to and from the airport, or any of that. So that's one exploration. The other big one, aside from finding my bookkeeper, is another gentleman at the Mastermind has a VA service. And so I trust him. We've actually known each other for 4 years now. And he is going to connect me with my second virtual assistant. The first one didn't work out. I had a lot of learning to go through, re-entering that kind of leadership role. I had done it previously. This is definitely different. But having that assistance, having someone, really the goal is to take off some of the menial tasks as much as possible, but also to keep me organized. So that way I am not so worried about, okay, did I remember this? Did I remember that? Was this taken care of? Was this client taken care of? And so that's one of the things that I'm focusing on, and to pour more energy into my masterminds that I'm wanting to do. That's something, that I have quote unquote dropped the ball over the last few months as far as talking about it or what they are, or sharing with people, or asking anyone who wants to join and participate. And so it's those, I think, are the main things that I should focus on. There's so many other things and so many cool ideas. I think the biggest part of growth over the last 2 years has been saying, that's fantastic. I could do that. I'm fully capable and I could do it, and I could do it excellently, but I choose not to. I actually turned away my very first done for you social media client in the last 2 weeks because it just wasn't a good fit for me.
Yeah.
It wasn't someone that I could see it being, it just wasn't the right fit. And I'm just like, I'm not this person for you, but if I find someone, I will absolutely refer. But it was kind of refreshing because previously it was always yes, because I wanted the revenue, right?
Right.
So learning to say no and actually mean it is a huge sign of growth for me.
Yes, because you're right. A lot of opportunities come, and a lot of times we just take it on because we need to pay the bills. But once we start to establish those healthy boundaries of, okay, this is the type of client I want, and asking the universe, like, I'm very woo-woo, but like asking the universe, well, I want this, and opening up my schedule for that to come in, and not booking it with other things that are going to take away from those bigger goals. And that's exactly what you're doing. And I love that. I love that. It's just so exciting to see how much growth you've had, but I can't wait to see the concierge business as well. That's something we need to talk about for my conference, actually.
Yes, let's do it.
Oh, that would make our life so much easier. But yeah, so no, I think it's just so amazing. Like all the ideas that we have, being able to put them in play, of the ones that feel aligned with us when we're ready for it. Because a lot of times so many ideas pop in my head daily, and I'm sure for you and others listening, because you want to start a business, you're there, you're like, okay, I want to do this. It starts with the first step. What makes sense for you? How are you going to do it? Is it going to make money? You don't know until you try it, of course, but like all the research, the market research, putting yourself out there, but being consistent and determined. And I think consistency sometimes, just to point out, we can be really consistent, but it might not be working. So looking at the analytics, looking at what's performing, like you mentioned earlier, like, okay, you might be on every platform, but what platform is doing the best? Okay, focus on that. Okay, what content is doing the best? Focus on the analytics. And that's, I know, what you do daily on a regular basis. But Ashley, it's been so amazing having you back, just being able to catch up all the amazing things you're up to. I can't wait to see that all transpire for you. I really can't.
It's going to be a lot of fun. The hierarchy of Ashley is, yeah, is this fun? Do I get to do cool stuff? Do I get to work with cool people? And can I pay the bills? Not necessarily in that order all of the time, but that's pretty much a double-edged sword for me. Great experiences, but at the same time being like, I could do that, but no. Or even looking at new business ventures and going, okay, I can do this. How do I scale? How do I build it to scale? How do I build it to sell? You know, it's a very different mentality than when I started my business. Lots of changes. It's been great.
Oh, I'm so happy for you. Thank you again, Ashley. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment below. What was the biggest takeaway from Ashley today? Go watch her original episode and then come back to this one, and we'll see you on the next episode.